Okay.
You don't freaking threaten me. I own this. You are confused.
Are we talking about ethics here or morality, or what are we talking about? Just corporate etiquette? Really, who made that? Where's the rule book?
Sugar like we're addicts. Why do you think we came? He's pasting gold leeches on my arm.
Profit sharing is something we've always done, but it has always been that all profits are distributed between ownership and employee. It was framed as profit sharing, but in their experience, it's always been a ever-increasing, every so often payment that comes every year to them. So sort of had to step that down due to kind of a tough year, but obviously I've gotten a lot of rough feedback and kind of bad attitude from the longtime employees. We pay market wages, we pay full health care. I think we compensate pretty fairly. I care for my people, but I also have to run a bottom line. So kind of that.
So you
tension.
just didn't have as much profit to distribute. It's that simple.
It's that simple. Plus,
I'm sharing profits, but the profits aren't as big.
Yeah, and we've always given away 100%, and that's not something we should probably keep doing. We need to retain profit for operations. So last year we didn't have a profit, and we paid a much smaller bonus, almost nothing.
So what did they say then?
First time. We sat down and they were, if you ever do that again, I'll walk out, things like that. And I said, it's okay. It's profit sharing, guys. It's not a promise to you. It's not a guaranteed part of your pay. Your
If
pay
you
is
ever
your
do
salary.
that again, I'll walk out, is the last conversation I have with that person.
Okay.
You don't freaking threaten me. I own this. You are confused.
Ramsey's, this is a bonus item concept here. It's just a sleight of hand for the ages. He's just flat out wrong and acting like a prick about it too, frankly. It's one thing to not receive profit share money because the company didn't profit. Okay, fair enough. It's not there. It's another to cut out that sum of money entirely going forward just as a matter of policy, even when profits return. The we don't have to profit share claim, that's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. And here's why.
A practice that we've always had that I kind of got passed down is that at the end of the year, we would distribute our profits. So profit sharing is something we've always done, but it has always been that all profits are distributed between ownership and employee.
Because in this case, and in many cases like it, it is what was agreed to. Am I supposed to care which sum of money, which till the company self-regards as being generous in paying out? I have an agreed to salary. And in my paycheck, there is a total sum of money, which accounts for that salary, allotted, say, biweekly, weekly, whatever it is. And this profit sharing thing, I am entitled to that. This is a pay cut. That's what it is. You can't launder this as something that I was never entitled to when it's the case that it is the pay in exchange for my time and services that was either negotiated or that was just sort of laid out up front, but ultimately agreed to. And they think that they can be so greedy as to actually do it and force the employees to accept it as something other than it is. If you're this emperor that Ramsey regards the business owner as, why would they feel the need to rework the language on that at all? Right? Whether they come out and say, hey, it's a pay cut, deal with it, which is essentially what he's saying, or not what he's saying, but what he could say if he really wanted to, or what the boss could say. But instead, they actually go to the trouble because not only are they're not satisfied just slashing the salary or just slashing what would otherwise be paid out. They have, on top of that, they have to force their employees to not name it as the very thing that it is when they could just declare it so. Like, sorry, we're cutting pay. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. I mean, that would not be great, but they could do that. But they have to entitle themselves to rework reality. This is some Guantanamo Bay shit here, frankly. This is where they try to break your identity by telling you this is not 4 fingers, that it's actually 5, right? How many fingers am I holding up? 4. How many fingers am I holding up? 4. How many fingers am I holding up? 5. Correct. That's what this is. Why is that necessary? They have to have that much too. As far as this divided sums of money that ultimately come to me in the form of one sum of money, I don't care where it comes from. I don't ask that question. But then when you're going to cut some of it out, then I'm supposed to care. And I'm supposed to know this.
You are not due this. It's not part of your comp package. It's an act of mercy by the owners that we are giving you some of our money.
Ramsey didn't even ask the right clarifying questions here and leapt straight into excoriating the staff who didn't bend the knee. It's just ridiculous. The bottom line is that it's part of the pay structure, okay? Why not just cut healthcare too? I mean, they don't have to include that either, do they? As a side note, I'd love to know how much less money these employees accepted up front as a trade-off for the potential to make more money in profit sharing than a flat rate, right? Which was offered by the other guy. You know what? I mean, you know what entitlement looks like? A company that partitions out an agreed-to salary amount into guaranteed money and incentive-based money that we reserve the right to just hack out of this arrangement permanently, with the added stipulation that I must still regard my bosses as a swell bunch of guys for giving me what became a temporary opportunity for earning. Well, guess what? If that incentive hadn't been there in the first place, I never would have accepted this job because your competitor offered me a greater salary in exchange for no profit share payouts that I'm now left with. Okay, the company has pulled off a long con bait and switch, nothing more. If he were my boss, I would not only complain, he'd be lucky to see me leave his office without first urinating on his fucking desk. It's not even economic first, it's linguistic. Ramsey accepts management's preferred label for the money, okay? Then he treats the label, I guess, as moral reality. Once the caller says profit sharing, bonus, not guaranteed part of pay, Ramsey just jumps on that and stops thinking altogether. But workers don't experience compensation according to the structure of what the job pays. That's something that the employer actually withholds, because to disclose that would arm the employees with more information than the company thinks they should be allowed to have, because who knows what they would do with it. But when it comes to slashing part of that salary, then it's, oh, well, this comes from here, this comes from here. Don't you know that? No, I don't know. The hell do I care? You never allowed me to know that. But now I'm expected to know it and just lap it up. We experience our paycheck as the total recurring structure of what the job pays. If a company has always distributed profits, then it's not some decorative Christmas bonus, all right, that hovers outside compensation. It is the compensation in the only sense that matters to the person organizing their fucking life around it, you jackass. I mean, yeah, the caller's own language gives the game away before Ramsey even starts in on his fucking barking. He says that the historical distribution was a way to bonus an employee, but then immediately admits that in the worker's experience, it had become a recurring annual payment.
It was framed as profit sharing, but in their experience, it's always been a ever-increasing, every so often payment that comes every year to them.
That's the whole case right there. The employer may prefer to imagine it as generosity. The employee reasonably treats it as earned income with a variable component. It's going to be there, provided that there are profits. Something's going to be there. It may be more, it may be less, whatever. You accept that up front, you know that. But it's not generosity or it's not an elective part of the structure. Like, oh yeah, well, we just, I'm only giving you that as a little bonus. No, profit sharing is what was agreed to. I don't have to worry about your generosity such that I have to, hug you and worship at your altar every time a little bit more appears in my paycheck. It's not generosity. It was what was negotiated. Ramsey just is siding with the employer here because he prefers their metaphysics. That's all there is to it. This is just what he does. I hate to be reductive about it. Whether I would say he actually does believe what he's saying. I know at least that much about it. But the point is, it's almost like like a anti-trigger or something, where he hears something and his ears perk up. He's like, ooh, this reeks of ungrateful employee. Let me jump in and pounce him and give him a dose of, the American economy the way God intended it. Jesus. Okay, the distinction that should be made is between a genuine bad year, I guess, contraction and a structural redefinition of pay. If profits disappear, profit sharing disappears. Okay, we knew that up front. The outcome follows from the mechanism, I suppose. But the caller there is not saying we had less profit, so the payout was smaller. He's saying two things at once. First, profits are down. Second, we've always given away 100%. Okay, and that's not something we should probably keep doing. We need to retain profit for operations. The second statement there, that's not some anomaly. It's a policy change. It means the employer has decided that a stream of money previously flowing right into the worker's pocket will now be retained by ownership or management or whatever for other priorities. That substantively is a compensation cut. Calling it prudence or whatever. In Ramsey's response, I don't know if it's the worst part, but he should at least be embarrassed as a radio or a talk show host about being so, or lacking curiosity, right? He reduces the entire thing to, so you just didn't have as much profit to distribute. It's that simple, but it's not. And the caller had already explained why it was not that simple. The issue is not merely that the pie shrank. The issue is that management changed the rule governing how the pie gets divided, even if and when the pie returns. Ramsey, he doesn't address that at all, okay, because he's too busy performing his little moral charade about boss authority, because that's what counts. I own this, therefore you're confused. Somebody, has to supplicate themselves just to get yet another crumb, okay, rather than what is contractual. But we all know that employment contracts don't mean shit anyway. Okay, employer can tear it up just like that. It doesn't mean anything. It's ceremonial, if that. But in his world, once the owner invokes discretion just because he's the one who happened to start the business, the worker's grievance that becomes attitude, and we go to vibes. Employment, what it either is or should be, it's an exchange. If an employee says, if compensation changes that drastically again, I may leave, the only leverage that labor has, which is an exit. And Ramsey turns, I'll walk out of here, into some personal threat against the big sovereign, okay, against the crown. That's running for cover from your own either ineptitude or just from circumstance. You structured this whole thing. You abide by that structure. Okay, if the company needs to take a loss and you're the owner who rightfully self-entitles to the lion's share, then you fucking absorb the loss, not them. If you want to fire them all because you just can't afford them, fine, but you don't cut everybody's pay for that reason. I mean, even the caller, the way they describe the recovery, I guess. Again, this issue of Ramsey just jumping straight into you're an ingrate. Okay, Ramsey could have asked, about the business, if it's profitable now, but cash is going towards cleaning up all of this other damage that's been done or that's been sustained from the prior year. Okay, that may be the sensible thing to do financially, but from the employee side, let's at least be honest about what that is. The workers are being asked to subsidize that recovery. The anger that the employee or the resentment that they're experiencing, that they're expressing here, I mean, what employee would just lap that up and be like, yeah, thank you, sir, can I have another? Nobody would. Nobody with a brain would. And would Ramsey admit to any of this? Nope. But we move from category to category to category to category, pivot, with the slogan airing being the same no matter where he is. It's you little shit, sit down, shut up, or get out of here, right? When it's useful to the owner to entice everybody, profit sharing is part of the culture here, man. We got a great culture here. Oh, we do profit sharing. Yeah, everybody loves it. It's part of how we reward people. It's why people like to stay with us. But when employees object to its reduction, suddenly it's optional, right? And nobody was ever supposed to count on it. Socialize the expectations during recruitment and retention, but then privatize discretion and spare me the company, they can do, it's a private business. They can do whatever they want. Yeah, no shit. Nobody's going to throw the boss in jail for for behaving unethically or immorally, but it still stands that you behaved or you made a choice to behave unethically or immorally. You said, I could either do the immoral, unethical thing, or I could do the moral and ethical thing. And at the very least, not force my employees to lie for me. But nope. Had to do that too. Just couldn't help it. And why? Because I can. Oh, really? So do you do everything that you can get away with? Where's the question of ought or ought not in there? That doesn't get asked? Oh, this is a business. If I ran it like that, I'd be out of business. No, you wouldn't. The best compromise I could offer is to say that, well, what they did was fully justified, but that the employees are also justified in resenting it. And we're just sort of left at that impasse. Fine. I can deal with that. But I'm not gonna take a pay cut and then lie for you to act like I didn't. That's just, and for this guy to endorse that, it's just straight up obnoxious. He's defending the owner's right to narrate reality, not just unilaterally, but abusively. He wants the workers to lose money and surrender all rights to describe what happened as losing money. Okay, that's insulting.
These are people that have been there longer than me. I've only been there 10
I don't care
years.
how long they've been there. They're fired that day.
Okay.
You don't threaten the person that owns the business.
And then you can keep all the profits of the business that you and your son are going to have to run on your own. Or you can go out and hire a bunch of teenagers at minimum wage to come in and do a shitty job for your dumbass.
The profits are down. This was sharing of profits. I can't share something I don't have. If you ever do that again, I'll leave. You're gone. Don't worry about it.
I'm the sheriff here. If there were no profits and the agreement is to profit sharing, okay, fine. But when profits came back and they decided, no, we're not going to do what we agreed to, which is share this with the employees. We're going to use it to pay off the fucking loan sharks, to save our own ass. Don't question that. How dare somebody become visibly upset at the news being delivered to them that less money is coming their way, right? I mean, this guy he self-entitles to become incredulous at the drop of a hat where there's just even a hint of pushback or concern because money's so goddamn important to him. That entitles him, apparently, to just unholster the 6-shooter and go and just light the room ablaze.
You entitled little twerp. This is entitlement. It's arrogance.
You asshole. You had a bad year last year. You're trying to pay everybody off this year because you mismanaged this from the start. Okay, so for you to sit there so arrogant, like, hey, I'm the one who started this. I'm Mr. Competent. I'm Mr. This. I'm Mr. That. You're just a lowly hourly employee or salary employee. What did he say? He sells tables or something? Oh, what a goddamn luminary of American corporatism.
They took it as your integrity was breached because you had promised them money, regardless of what happened, because you hadn't communicated well how profit sharing works.
He communicated what he had to communicate pursuant to the previous policy just fine. He said one of his guys, or a couple of them, had been on this pay structure for 30 freaking years.
Have about 16 employees and kind of a split between a lot of 30-plus year veterans and then kind of the new crowd that is 10 or years or less. A practice that we've always had is that at the end of the year, we would distribute our profits. So profit sharing is something we've always done. In their experience, it's always been a ever-increasing, every so often payment that comes every year to them.
This was the structure. It wasn't just promised. It was part of what was agreed to. You're saying, oh, well, you just didn't communicate what should have been the case the whole time. Well, it wasn't the case. That's how you run your business. He ran it differently. You're telling him to change his policy and then from here on out communicate it clearly. But that's irrelevant to what's already transpired.
Because that guy, when he said that, what he was saying was that you promised me this no matter what happened. That's what his brain was telling him.
No, Dave, his brain wasn't telling him that. His employer told him that.
He also felt entitled to it.
Why would he not? He was never told otherwise.
And the problem with this crap is you have to say it over and over and over and over and over. And about the time you get sick of hearing it, that's about the time they hear it.
No, Dave, you're trying to drive this point home. This guy didn't say it over and over and over and over because it wasn't the policy. If it was the policy, then he would have done that, or his father, or whoever the hell. What you're saying right now has nothing whatsoever to do with that. By merging what is your policy with this guy's, they are different. This was what was agreed to. If you do that again, I'm going to leave or whatever. You're going to pretend to not understand why that's a legitimate concern. I bet you your panties were all up in a bunch the second you realized when profits weren't coming in, you weren't going to take home as much money. Who'd you try to blame that on?
Now, let me go back and fix that now that I've already fired that guy. Okay? He's gone.
Yeah. That showed him because what we need here, right? In an economy where nobody can afford any fucking rent, nobody can even get hired at the job they used to have that they got fired from for no reason. But now getting hired itself is a harder job than the job you're actually going to get because you're part of a global pool of candidates. Okay, that's an impossibility to even do that. But if you're lucky enough to actually get in there, this guy can't wait to fire you. And why? Because of his ego. That's just great. I'm glad he's got his eye on the American economy and its well-being as the prize. I'm glad he's so fucking trigger happy. He can't wait to put everybody out in the street and then point the finger at them and blame them for not having a job, for being lazy or something. When really it was the case that they came into your company, helped it, were probably a high functioning employee. All right, if they got to the point where over years of service, they came to expect this. And they had the prescience to use their money management skills, okay, to ask a couple of questions, and you reacted to them. You're skilled, competent, industrious, conscientious employees by kicking them out the door, all because of your fucking dick size?
If I'm you, I'm firing him today. You go back to the office and fire him. I'm so over this guy right now.
Got it, dude. Got it.
Sugar like we're addicts. Why do you think we came? He's pasting gold leeches on my arm. We sharpen up our teeth.
Well, there it is.